What up, guys? That Comic Awesome here, doing another Awesome Thoughts. Today I want to talk about the success of Marvel Studios versus the failures of Marvel Comics and why that is. So first, why is Marvel Studios so much more successful than Marvel Comics when, if you go back, 30 years, it's very much the opposite. Granted, now Marvel Studios didn't exist then, but comics were much more prevalent than their movie or TV adaptations. And I think part of the success that Marvel Studios holds is they can use these classic and iconic characters and they make them mainstream and accessible to a wider audience very successfully, to where you don't need to know a huge amount of backstory. You can get in for 2.5 hours. You get a great story. It's fun. It's entertaining. A lot of action scenes, and that's it. It's very bright and shiny. Whereas with Marvel Comics, you tend to, comics are, almost, and I really hate to say this, it's like a dying art form. You have the people that read them are the people that have read comics for a very long time, or read comics when they were kids, and now as adults realize, hey, I can afford to read comics again, so I'm going to go ahead and start reading comics, see what they're about. You don't really, and again, maybe it's just me, you don't really hear about young kids, to me, reading comics anymore. Like, I remember when I was in elementary and middle school and stuff like that, like, me and my friends, we read comics. We watched comic-related cartoons, and, that was, like, the most awesome thing ever. And you don't really hear about that nowadays. And I think, not only is part of the reason I think the poor writing and decisions that Marvel Comics has made over the course of the last 15 to 20 years, but the fact that, like, you have so many, when I was a kid, it's like you had comics you had US comics and that was it. Now you have a much broader not audience, but a much broader range of entertainment. I mean, nowadays, Pokemon super saturates everything. But then look at how a Marvel movie is made also. They tend to play it safe with the political topics. Age of Ultron, probably one of my least favorite Marvel Studios movies, had a huge, glaring agenda push in it, which, again, is part of the reasons why it's one of my least favorite. But then they can do it right sometimes. Like, to me, the way they tackled some politics in Black Panther worked, and it made sense within the context of the story they were telling, and it was told very well. Whereas, and you have a multi-million dollar movie on the line when it comes to stuff like that, so a lot more scrutiny comes into the script when they're saying, like, hey, let's kind of put this in our movie. It's like, well, Disney's backing, $250 million of this movie, and we want to actually make some of that money back, so we're not gonna put that in there. We're gonna put a little bit more of a safer option. Whereas I think in the print world, you can do that. It's a much smaller budget. You give writers much more freedom and creative control over their books, which can be good or it can be bad. You can get some really good quality writing, or you can get just complete SJW trash, like the newest X-Men Red, where again they there's still apparently a wage gap in this world. But anyway, and I think, again, like, it kind of goes back to, you have a lot more accountability when it comes to the movie side, whereas in the writing world, it's almost become, and it's sad to say, failure has become acceptable. To kind of quote, like, diversity in comics in this, back in the 90s, a good comic would sell 300,000 copies, print to the door, whereas now a successful book will sell like 80 in a month. And it's only a handful of books that can do that. Most hover around the 30 or 40 range. Many less than that still get print and published, and the series continues on. But yeah, that's kind of my thought on that. Again, I feel, to kind of break it down again, the success of Marvel movies, you have much more accountability by the writers, whereas Marvel Comics, you have much more free reign, which, can be a double-edged sword. But yeah, subscribe over on the side, watch some more videos, let me know what you guys think down in the comments, and I'll see you next time.